distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Salam alaikum. Good afternoon. 各位女士们、先生们，下午好。Welcome, welcome, welcome to the RWA Real Up Summit of 2025. First of all, I would like to thank you for picking this event. I know that you have options because there's a bigger event of Token 2049. So thank you so much for coming to our event. But I'm sure that our event will be very insightful, will be very thought-provoking. And this event is arranged by Ant Digital Technology. Ant Digital Technology is a technology arm of Ant Group. Ant Group, you may know it also as Alipay, right? Ant Digital Technology is pioneering enterprise solutions in AI, in Web3, and in blockchain. Today, they're serving over 10,000 business partners all over the world to build trust and efficiency. So we've got an amazing lineup of guests and speakers and panelists today. So let me introduce a few. Mr. Ahmed Al-Ulaki, let's welcome. Welcome. He's the Vice President of Banking and Capital Markets of DIFC, Dubai International Finance Center. Welcome. Mr. Omar Abdulaziz Taher, Commercial Director of Dubai Silicon Oasis. Welcome. Mr. Kishlaya Misra, Senior Investment Officer of Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank. Welcome. Mr. Pan Xing Yuan, General Manager of Bank of China, Dubai. Welcome. Mr. Liu Hua, General Manager of ICBC, Dubai. And Mr. Fahad Barak Al-Mahzouk, Senior Vice President and Head of International Corporate Banking of National Bank of Kuwait. Welcome, Fahad. We also have friends from China Construction Bank, Bank of Communications, Crédit Agricole Corporate Investment Banking Services, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, joining us in this event. We also have business partners from many places and other distinguished guests. So please forgive me, I will not introduce you one by one. One more time, thank you so much for coming. Also with us, we have Mr. Zhao Wenbiao, Chief Executive Officer of Ant Digital Technology. We also have Ms. Bian Zhuoqun, President of Blockchain Technology of Ant Digital Technology. All right, so some of you may have noticed that my role is in Treasury and financial markets. So you may ask why treasurers are interested in RWA and Web3. Treasurers are really notorious for their risk-averse and very traditional reputation, right? It's true, it's true. Many of my peer colleagues of treasuries are conservative. They haven't yet invested in digital assets. But some of my friends are telling me, some of them are in the room. They say, Charles, you will be out of your job 3-5 years down the road. Because think about it, the technology will really disrupt what you do today. All right, so if you look at the agenda, it is quite telling. When you think about it, many things will be done very differently 3-5 years down the road. The way we make cross-border transfer, and it can get ledger credit real time, the way we manage our liquidity. Some of the assets you think today totally illiquid can be quite liquid. The way we raise financing, especially project financing or asset-based financing, right? Some of the asset you totally is not bankable, could be bankable, right? And also the way we allocate our cash investment, because digital asset is becoming a very important asset class for people to look at it. So we got so many things to talk about. And I know that my Ant digital technology friends, they are super passionate about technology. They are not financiers, right? Our French guys are there, right? So, they're passionate about technology can change the world. I have personally experienced in my career in the last 6-7 years with Alipay. Think about how technology has changed the way people make payment in the last 5-10 years in China and in some part of the world. So I'm a believer that technology can significantly change what we are doing today. But at the same time, I'm skeptical. What about risks? What about regulatory compliances, et cetera, et cetera? And we're going to address it. But one thing, I'm not skeptical at all. Zero doubt is the place. We're here today. Dubai is the place to talk about, to have some serious discussions about RWA Web3. And thanks to you. So without further ado, let me introduce Zhao Wenbiao, CEO of Ant Digital Technology, to give us an opening speech. Wenbiao, please.
Distinguished guests, value partner, fellow industry leaders, and friends. Good afternoon. I'm Wenbiao Zhao, CEO of Ant Digital Technologies. It's truly an honor to gather with global innovators at the RWA Real Summit in starting Berjo Alba Jumeirah. Let me especially thank our financial institution leads, industry experts, and tech entrepreneurs who cross the time zone to be here. Your presence confirms RWA is growing power to reshape global industry value. Now, standing here in Dubai, the future stack city rising from desert sands, we are witnessing history unfold. Global new energy isn't just growing bigger, it's growing smart. The industry is shifting from scale expansion to value re-engineering, and digital technology is fueling this transition. At Ant Group, Ant Digital Technology stands as a pioneer in technology commercialization. We are committed to driving industry innovation through cutting-edge technology like AI plus Web3. Let me share what we have achieved with partners this past year. As a co-member of the project ensemble led by HKMA, we complete the world's first RWA, real-world asset project for new energy assets. This breakthrough enables cross-border financing for 9,000 EV charging stations through blockchain verification. We will establish a digital infrastructure to photovoltaic assets, utilizing AIoT plus blockchains to reduce the financing cycle by 60%. And we broke financing barrier to Chinese SMEs, connecting the mainland green assets with global capital through tokenization, creating replicable models for the broad real economy sectors. Ant Digital Technologies International Headquarters is located in Hong Kong. Dubai and Hong Kong are both hubs of sustainable finance, or the special significance. With their financial authority collaborating on the sustainability initiatives, this region becomes our ideal ground for cross-border regulator synergy and green finance innovation. We are positioning anti-digital technology as a digital bread, linking Middle East energy transition opportunity to the Asian markets. By embedding our blockchain solution into energy RWA ecosystem here and in Hong Kong, we aim to accelerate the global low-carbon transition through these dual harbors. As I wrap up, let me share our brand promise that guides every innovation we make. Your value will be valued. Let's take Dubai as our starting point. Turn today's shared vision into concrete achievement. Together, let's bring digital transformation to the real world. Infuse the technology revolution with human warmth, and redefine what is possible in the new energy era. Thank you. Let's make this summit count. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zhao, for your very visionary speech to get the forum started. Over the last years, and digital technology has actively exploring in the field of RWA, which is the subject of today. And digital technology has successfully cooperated with some giant Chinese clients in the field of green energy and issued RWA assets worth hundreds and millions of renminbi, providing valuable experience for the development of RWA of Chinese green assets. So today we're honored to invite Mrs. Bian Zhuoqun, President of Blockchain Businesses of Ant Digital Technology. She will explore how technology innovation will unlock the RWA value. Zhuoqun, please.
Thanks to us. Last August, I was in Hong Kong, and the first time to introduce our pilot of RWA. And after 6 months later, we set up our overseas business in Hong Kong. Today, I'm here with my teams and so many friends here. I think Dubai is the land full of magic. It's an amazing land. We are seeking any possibilities we can do together to make something happen, to make something wonderful things happen. Yes, we have to say our economy is experiencing the low growth modeling. It's quite uncertainty and a lot of the challenges here. And you can see the numbers here is not quite good. Also from some institutional forecast, the growth rate of 2025 is almost 3%, which is quite depressed. But on the contrary, we can see the digital economic is quite promising. From some statistics, the digital economy is projected to approximately 24 trillion, and which accounting for 21% of the total global economy, with the triple growth rates of the global economy. So we always see the successes of the hope, and I think the certainty in the uncertainty is the digital economy centered by our RWA. So RWA maybe is the certainty in the uncertainty, is our vision. The paradigms of revolution of the tokenization, which the high-speed growth cannot be done without cutting-edge technologies. We see the technology here, AIoT, private computing, Web3 technologies. IoT just like an inspector to verify the real world asset, to ensuring the every token responsibility, the information real and reliable, which is like an inspector. Privacy computing protect privacy very carefully and make sure that privacy data could be used in very transparent and very trustworthy environments. The Web3 technologies, we have to say, is the knowledge full of amazing, which is accelerated efficiency, transparency, and enable the circulation of the assets during the Web3. So all of the technologies, who is the best? I think the DT is the best. So why are we here? We're part of that because we are the best one to have this kind of the technologies. Again, RWA is on the top of the tokenized economy. The trillions, the dollars, the expansion behind is a huge market. And you can see the value of the RWA tokenized assets on the public chain surged to 20 billion in 2025 with the CAGR of 300%. It's amazing. And in the future, we can see the global tokenized RWA market will reach to 16 trillion by 2030, which is amazing growth. And also, from the financial assets, we see a lot of high-quality financial assets goes to the Web3 ecosystems. And in addition, very important things, we see the alternative, the physical assets, the value is unlocked by our technologies, which provide the new energy to Web3 ecosystems. So that's again, we are not financial institutions. We are technology providers. We provide the technology to unlock those high-performing assets to the new worlds and unlock the value of the new assets, bring the new class assets to the Web3. Here we have done all of the pillars. You can see there's one thing in common. China first, China first, China first. China first based RWA projects with Langxing is on EV charging. China first blockchain based RWA projects, solar panel with GCL. And the China first blockchain based RWA project in battery swapping industry. All China's first. We are proud of that. And what next? What's the next station? What's the next stop? I think it's here. Again, it's the amazing plan. It's amazing lens. We hope the next times I'm talking about the RWA, it's the Dubai first. It's the Abu Dhabi first. It's the here first. It's my favorite pictures here. We are the DT RWA. We position us like the bridging Web 2. We bridge us as the gateway to bridge Web 2 real world asset with striving Web3 ecosystems. We are the gateway. We bring the high quality, high performance assets to Web3, and then we bring up the liquidity and extra returns to Web3 assets. With the extensive assets network, with the world-class technology, and with the Web3 ecosystems and experience. Again, it's the very, very important things. We are within our experienced partners here. It's all here in the rooms. You are the experienced partners who can build things better. I think it is not the DT alone. I think it's the ecosystem. I think we are proud to be here with so many valuable and strategic friends here. Thank you. DT RWA, again, embracing Web3 ecosystem. From the bottom of the tech to blockchain, we are embracing the Web3 ecosystems. What we have? We have the cutting-edge technologies. Several days ago, we just open sourced our DTVM, smart conjunct. Smart conjunct is AI programming agent to help the developers to do their things very quickly, very efficiently, and very intelligently. And also, we will to get the ZK acceleration T, and we can give the secret one. Maybe 1 to 1 hour or half an hour later, we will do something announcements about Jovay network. It's a very cutting edge technologies, which is open source as well, and we are looking for that. Kobe, we are looking for you. And also, we have the high quality RWA assets, is renewable energies, financial assets, digital native assets. So we have assets, we have quality, high quality assets, we have the cutting edge technologies. And we share those technologies with you, with the world, globally. And we provide unique value to Web3 ecosystem. We are here, we bring the cutting edge knowledges, we bring up the assets, we bring up the standardized financial assets, we do have the high performance real world assets to the new worlds. We can see the new world can be merged. The two worlds can be merged. We can share the value from the emerging. Here's the very interesting one to see the title. RWA Web3 suit. So it's our planning. We are planning the RWA suits. From the DT Corporate RWA Solution, DT Tokenization Trust, DT Offering, and the DT Define Ecos. It's the components of the Web3 suits. It's full of things from the corporate banks to the retails. We provide the technology infra to those economy. We provide our efficiency, on-chain, reimagined on-chain ecosystems. And with institution-grade on-chain assets class, with our very valuable financial institutions to bring the tokenized note, to bring the MMF, to bring an ETF, to bring a lot of the combination of the new financial assets to the Web3. Again, dramatic DeFi ecosystems. You have lending partners, we have staking partners, we have a lot of strategic partners in the ecosystems. Again, we do not do the things alone. We build up the new worlds with the people, with everybody here. The last one, boosting the on-chain economy and unlock the new value of the green infrastructure. One thing I would like to highlight is every step is recorded on-chain, and every value you made will be valued. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. All right, thanks, Ms. Bien. Look, I mean, and digital technology has a lot to offer. And we have cutting edges and great assets. And we have a good ecosystem we're building. So together, President Bien's blueprint will definitely lead this to a very fruitful future. Next, we're honored to invite Kishlaya Mishra, Senior Investment Officer of the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank. And Mr. Mishra will share insights on how Middle East investors are leveraging climate technologies to drive innovations and sustainability. Thanks.
Ni hao. Ni hao is coming from somebody who has lived 7 years in China. So prior to moving to Abu Dhabi a year and a half back, I had lived 7 years in Beijing. So heartful ni hao to all of you. You know what, at the outset, let me say, you will say we are in a technology conference and this guy is coming and talking about infrastructure. How are these two correlating with each other? And I'm here to talk about how the real value unlock of the technologies which most of you are trying to develop here is happening. Ms. Bian talked about how the real challenge is the value unlocking by the technologies and the products are being made. And I'm here to talk about more. Very briefly, AIIB is a multilateral institution set up in Beijing with 110 sovereigns. Part of that multilateral, our headquarters is in Beijing. As Ms. Bian was saying and Charles was saying, I very much echo UAE is the place to come because our first office outside Beijing is in Abu Dhabi, so very welcome to visit us. I think I'll keep my interventions into two sections. The topic given to me, one is about infrastructure per se, and use of Web3 in infrastructure. And when I say infrastructure, about energy transition and things happening here in this part of the world, to make it more contextual, we all know this place is very heavy on fossil fuels. They have, like in UAE where we are standing, they have a plan for 2050 where they want to have substantial portion coming from the renewables, plus a net zero commitment from this part of the world. Likewise, KSA has set targets that by 2030, 50% of the energy would be from renewables. Why is that needed? So somebody who is talking inside out, I would like to share that here is an opportunity for sovereigns here. And this opportunity is decarbonization and creating new opportunities in the industry of energy transition. These can be multifolded. I'll just like to throw a few of examples. Like you'll see, and where I'm talking about, these can be use cases for you, possibly energy efficiency. As Ms. Bian said at the end very profoundly, every trail on Web3 is leaving an imprint. So how can we sort of ensure the use case of Web3 coming to infrastructure? Likewise, decarbonization of industry is creating a lot of opportunities here. You have a lot of solar PV developments happening, EV manufacturing happening, which creates a lot of opportunity in energy transition in this space. Thirdly, decarbonization of already energy-intensive industries like aluminum, steel, chemicals, which are being developed here. How you decarbonize them, at least in the energy transition space as a use case for Web3 developers. So this is something about the energy transition, and I'll be happy to take questions on how things are moving. I want to move ahead and talk about the real value unlocking which Web3 is bringing in the infrastructure space. Let me start by saying the first and foremost thing which Web3 brings, not only from value unlocking, is the transparency. And I think transparency is one thing which every stakeholder is very profoundly looking for. So all the technological solutions, platforms, applications, use cases, which we are trying to do, the bottom line is creating a transparent platform. The second thing which I want to do, and I know I'm not an expert, I am an investor, so I'll not pretend to be a technology guy, is what exactly it leads to. So let's talk about tokenization. I think tokenization, and we are talking in Dubai, where we will soon have tokenization being implemented across the real asset. It becomes a more fungible assets rotating people around. And Dubai has already taken one of the best initiatives here in the real estate sector on transparency. So this augments the already transparent market mechanisms. What it does is it instills more belief in the market. So as Web3 developers, platform, what we are trying to do is we are not making a zero-sum game. Again, from an investment perspective, with the Web3 technologies, you are growing the pie when you are bringing these technologies on platform. The second thing which I would like to talk about, and again, I'm just borrowing Ms. Bian because she's subject matter expert, is on the blockchains. How is blockchain unlocking values in infrastructure? Let's see. For example, I come from India, I've lived in China, I've lived in UAE. I've seen the infrastructure gaps from an emerging markets to what is in China, what is in UAE. What basically blockchain technologies in infrastructure is enabling is public accountability or private accountability for all the stakeholders involved. It starts from the project design It starts from project execution, it starts until project monitoring, and until the asset life end. And this is the real value unlock in infrastructure space, if you can come. So it's not a very good technology, good to have in developed parts of the world. These are the technologies which can go to all parts of the world and create scalable solutions, bringing public and private accountability on the place. The third thing which I want to talk as an instrument which we have seen in our experience of usage of Web3 is smart contracts. Again, not a tech expert here, but how smart contracts are taking human out of the contracts where people have their biases. What technology which we see usage of Web3 coming in an infrastructure is, you have a big bridge to be built. We all know in emerging market, it takes 3 years first to plan. Then it takes somebody to decide whether we want to go ahead. And then the execution starts. And God knows by when, if it happens, What it's doing is, in terms of smart contracts, you are clearly setting out the expectations from day one. And this is how we are trying to use these technologies at our end and asking our stakeholders, our shareholders, to explore these opportunities, because there's no human bias. There is a digital footprint. There is, you can say, there's no whims and fancies involved. And this is where we are seeing more use of smart contracts. Lastly, one more important Web3 technology which we are seeing in infrastructure space is digital identifiers. Again, what it does is it takes out the human out. And while we want human, there is all big debate about human and AI and Web3. Human, of course, needs to be at the center, but the point is, human with biases are dangerous. And how you mitigate it is through these technologies which we have used. And I'm trying to bring to your notice that these are not philosophical concepts, good to talk in conferences and good to have. In fact, our peer institutions like World Bank, International Monetary Funds have already floated a blockchain bond in Australia and is floating a blockchain bond in Africa and other parts of the world, just to ensure that the public accountability which I mentioned is there. Because what it does, as I just said, it reduces the administrative cost, it takes out the human out, the processes are transparent, you have a digital footprint, and hence it brings an end-to-end solution which infrastructure as a sector needs. So what I'm trying to say is that these use cases, and I have few studies just to share with you, it is really unlocking value, as Ms. Bian and Charles were saying, to an extent of cost savings of up to 10 to 20% in large infrastructure projects. So we are not talking a few million. If it's $1 billion project, we are talking roughly 100 millions of saved through application of Web3 end-to-end. Where does it come? And some examples come to my mind is, I talked about procurement and bidding, construction payments, capital mobilization, the green bond, which I did talk about, audit and compliance. This function is, of course, everybody is scared of, audit our internal audits, but then if the things are streamlined, there's no need of person out there if Web3 is working in the manner which is required to do. Again, land and asset records, I talked about the Dubai experience. Supply chain transparency. Yes, this is an important thing which we all hear when we turn on our news channels. Supply chain, supply chain, supply chain. But how exactly Web3 is bringing that supply chain transparency in the current context is phenomenal. Because in infrastructure project, you know where your cement, where is your steel, how much quantum you need, how many human resources you need is there in place. And in the right time, in the right quantum. And you know, say for somebody trying to develop a solar PV and is sourcing from China, there's a clear audit trail which talks about how that supply chain is there. And this is often underrated, but I want to emphasize that supply chain transparency by Web3 technologies is one very big use case which we see from our vantage. And one very good thing is these are global solutions. These are not solutions which will apply in one country and doesn't apply anywhere else. So just food for thought out there. And lastly, on the maintenance and operations and management, Again, taking examples of China and UAE, developing asset is just one part, at least in infrastructure. It takes a lot of time and effort to maintain those assets. And this is where Web3 technologies have a very solid use case in terms of maintenance, because these are scalable products. As Ms. Bian was talking about, IoT is good to have, or devils there, but then it really leads to the value unlocking, which is needed for all the stakeholders involved to reach a common point. Lastly, I'll conclude with this. I think I want to just share with you how we see Web3 applications in Middle East, use cases wise. The first use case which we are seeing now in Middle East on Web3 is P2P energy trading, and there are a lot of talk about carbon credit mechanism being set here. And I think here is a good opportunity for entrepreneurs, technology, who can explore this green space in terms of the carbon credit markets being set up. Because it's easy to set a market. What will come with this market is accountability and full transparency and traceability. And here is an opportunity which I see in Web3, at least in Middle East. The second opportunity which we see is smart contracts and automation. You'll see a lot of manufacturing. You'll read a lot about use cases. This company from China coming to UAE, this company from this part coming to UAE or KSA, and they are all looking for smart solutions, and here is an opportunity by using Web3. You can automate and create scalable technologies which unlock the value, at least from Middle Eastern side. And the last is, of course, this is little to be tested, is use of NFTs for renewable certification. We all know, as I started by talking, the amount of commitment this region has given to renewables. Can we bring a big solar PV asset and a Web3 technology together? And here is an opportunity where through NFTs, these renewable certifications can be certified, and the entire market can be created. And I'm talking about not a use case, these are market creation opportunities. If you apply Web3, at least in energy transition space, of how we see. With this, let me take a pause. I thought I'll be happy to take any questions, if now or later. But welcome to UAE. And I think from where we sit, may sound very 30,000 feet, but the technologies which we are all involved in has a real impact on time, cost, human savings, everything in our day-to-day work, both on business as well as personal side. So compliments to the organizer, Charles, Ms. Bain, of getting this organized and this brainstorming going, and making sure that use cases are not limited to China. Because China is far ahead, I can say. Having lived there, and let those technologies come to this part of the world, and people realize that these are not good concepts or good to have, but these are real, tangible use cases and scalable use cases. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mishra. With his rich experience living in Far East, now Middle East, and his background in South Asia, he really provided very convincing cases of building Web3 technologies with the infrastructure building. Lots of opportunities. Thanks so much. All right, let's move to the next chapter, which I'm super excited about. It is the global launch of the world's leading blockchain virtual machine technology. This technology will significantly enhance on-chain computing efficiency and provide more flexibility and secure solutions in complex scenarios, supporting the prosperity of Web3 ecosystems in AI era. With that, let me welcome Dr. Ying Yan, Chief Scientist at N Digital Technology, to the stage. Please.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear friends. Good afternoon, everyone. Very excited to be here and to introduce our innovative open source initiatives, DTVM. DTVM, Deterministic Virtual Machine. Yes, that is the smart contract engine that can revolutionize tokenization. Yeah. And today, we are standing as a threshold of a new era in tokenization, a era where traditional practice are transforming into the intelligent system. And this transformation is marked by the shift from traditional tokenization into smart tokenization. Right? And smart tokenization offers not only the flexibility, adaptability, but also should support the performance boost. Right? And also, by the enhancement of artificial intelligence, smart tokenization should also empower the asset development and management. Moreover, it should also support verifiable computation. We want to make sure that everything is smart, secure, private, and verifiable. Yeah. So we can see that from tokenization into smart tokenization, it's not only an upgrade. So it is a revolution in the era of Web3 plus AI. Then how can we make the future into reality? Yeah, we are ready for that. So before we tell you the solution, let's first look at the digital asset in the life cycle. So this is a full life cycle for a digital asset. So at the hard part of the life cycle, we see there is smart contract, right? This is very important because smart contracts are the backbone for the digital asset application. The smart contract actually is triggered by the transaction and the state, every change of the state, to make sure it is traceable and tamper-proof, right? But what powers those smart contracts? Yes, it is the engine. That is the virtual machine, right? So it's so important. It is the key to unlock the potential, right? But however, as we are racing toward the future, there are a lot of attributes, as I mentioned. So we have flexibility, adaptability, we have performance issue, we have security issue, we have this AI compatibility issue, we have the verifiability issue, right? These are the new rules of today. So therefore, we see the existing virtual machine cannot surface. That's why we see recently there are a lot of projects are talking about upgrading their virtual machine. Yeah. And the answer for us is very simple. We should not only keep up with the future, we need to lead the future. And that is our mission of digital technology from the first day. It never changed, right? So I think today we need to have a new generation of virtual machine. That is why we are here, right? I'm very excited to introduce DTVM, deterministic virtual machine, which is a next generation full stack smart contract execution engine. And thanks to our key collaborators, for example, we have the supercomputer technology team in group, also have Ferros as the co-contributor to this. We just open source it. And thanks a lot for your very encouraging and very insightful feedbacks, right? And the DTVM stack consists of two parts. One is the virtual machine engine, provide deterministic, high-speed, secure virtual machine engine, right? On the other hand, we also have this AI-powered toolset, smart cogent, right? Can take care of your whole smart contract lifecycle from development to deployment. So I love this name very much, smart cogent, smart contract code AI agent. Yeah, with that tool, you only need to focus on what to do instead of how to do it, right? So besides the name I love very much, I also love the cool features provided by DTVM stack. So let's see one by one. The first one is for the engine, right? It provides deterministic compilation technology, which can speed up the execution. So it is EVM compatible. So let's take a comparison. So we compare them with Solidity, right? Those EVM contract, for example, ERC 2721, they are simple. So we can have 2 times speed up compared to EVM. And for this standard simple contract. But for complex contract, so it can achieve up to 50 times speed up on execution and up to 23 speed up on the compilation time. So it's very fast, right? And second feature is the TE native security. It's very secure, right? So how can we achieve that? First one, we have the hardware acceleration bound check that can help you to achieve the security. And on the other hand, we can minimize the trust code base. The code base actually is minimized by 70% compared to the Wasmer. Smaller trust code base means less dependency, That means it's very easy to work with secure hardware like TEE, right? And also, small trust base also reduce the attack surface, so it's very safe, right? So confidentiality, verifiability can be achieved easily, right? And third one, I think every single developer loves it very much because besides Solidity, we support 6 languages: C++, Java, Go. We have Rust, TypeScript, which means if you are a developer, you know one of the language, you can start innovation on Web3. I think that will greatly inspire all the developers to come for a smart tokenization feature, right? And the last but not least, actually is the AI tool, Smart Cogent, right? So we can help all the developers to manage the smart contract developing, optimization, auditing, and deployment, all automatically, right? No delay, no errors, the high security and automation. As I mentioned, you only need to focus on what to do instead of how to do it, right? So then let's dig into the story behind, right? For the whole stack, we have 3 layers. From bottom up, we have engine that is responsible for this deterministic and high performance, high security computation. And the middle layer, so we have this SDK to support multiple languages. For each language, we have detailed technology to solve efficiency, security, and the language compatibility problem. On the top layer, so we have this Smart Cogent AI power tool. So there are a lot of details. They can check our paper. So we have a deep discussion on the challenge you're facing, how we can solve them, our thorough evaluations. And you can check our code as well, right? And there's one technology on the engine side I really want to mention. That is our compiling technology. We call it tiered lazy ZIT compilation technology. So there are 2 features. First one is it solves the deterministic computation problem. In order to make smart contract run on every single environment with identical result, we should have deterministic mechanism, right? So here we formalize the standard. So at least 5 behaviors that need the determinism here to solve this problem. And the other one is for the performance technology. So we have this pluggable optimized path boost plus the fine-grained asynchronized function level optimization that can make our virtual machine to speed up as fast as we can, right? And also, this is the engine part. And next part, I want to introduce the very useful, user-friendly, the AI tool. So before I introduce how it works, let's see what is Smart Cogent. There's a video. Can you show the video, please?
DTVM Smart Cogent provides you multiple agents to generate, audit, compile, and deploy contracts. Here are 3 demos. Smart Cogent Compiler is integrated into Client to create contract projects and generate codes. Here is an English auction contract. All you need is to provide rigorous, clear, and explicit requirements descriptions. Type the contract features and run. Just enjoy your coffee. Your smart contract will be generated automatically. It firstly retrieves from our selected and sanitized code bases, extracts frameworks, and business logic. Here you can see the code in a Foundry project. It strictly meets requirements. For example, the bid increment mechanism enforced to strictly exceed 5%. Naturally, it intelligently invokes compilers and audit tools until delivering fully functional and secure contracts. Let's now audit a real-world contract named Pawn. Just ask Smart Cogent to audit this contract file. You can identify potential vulnerabilities within. Firstly, an audit plan task is created and executed. Cogent performs a deep audit based on the audit plan. We wait briefly, and then a Serif audit report is generated and returned. Finally, the LLM will automatically pass the audit report and contract file as parameters to the contract auto repair tool. Now the repair task has been completed. Here we can see that the repair tool has successfully addressed the issues. Similarly, just tell the Smart Cogent the name of the contract or project, and they will be compiled and deployed. The builder agent automatically analyzes contract dependencies. The success rate of compiling mainstream dependencies has increased to over 95%. After compilation is complete, the deployer extracts constructor type information and prompts the user for input. When signing the transaction, the tool actively triggers the MetaMask wallet plugin, waits for your confirmation, and then signs and sends the transaction. Upon successful deployment, Smart Cogent proactively retrieves and displays the transaction data. Additionally, you can ask Smart Cogent to query any transaction from the blockchain. Stay tuned for more DTVM technical releases.
Wow, it's very cool. Yes. Yeah. Let's think about when you are building a smart contract, you're building an application, just like you're building a skyscraper. You need a team of people. More accurately, you need a team of professionals, a team of experts, right? And now you have a smart cogent. You have a team of experts help you to develop your applications, right? So thanks to the large language model technology and our professional data, as well as this AI agent, we can make it happen. So let's look at the smart cogent. Actually, behind it, you really have a dream team. Because in this example, we have 7 groups of agents. And in each group, we also have sub-agents. For example, in develop phase, so we have 2 agents working on that. And for auditing phase, so we have 4 agent group, AI agent group. And for the deployment, we have 1 group of people, right? They are working together just like your dream team on working on a smart contract development, okay? And what about the accuracy? Let's take the auditing as an example. Actually, through technology of our professional experience, because we have been working on this smart contract auditing for years, so we have professional, real-world vulnerability database. We can fine-tune the module to make it professional, right? And also, we have this cross-border enhancement. We have this AI agent optimization that we can make our smart cogent on auditing phase 8 times accurate than the general language model. Yeah. And this is just the beginning. We'll continue working on improving the accuracy and making the experience very smooth. And we want to make it your favorite smart contract developing tool, right? And now you have DTVM stack. You have this new engine for smart contract, for digital asset. And you have your AI tool for you to manage the whole life cycle of development. And now you can do a lot of things. For example, in the real-world asset case, you have a bunch of assets, real-world assets. For example, Polar, this is a solar panel, for example. And actually, our DTVM can also run on the IoT devices, right? On both IoT devices, on a chain node. Okay, everything that you need data verification, you need data security, you want to run smart contract, they can use DTVM, right? And use the smart cogent, actually everything can go smoothly, and you can just secure all the applications and asset circulation, right? And DTVM can be utilized for many ecosystem partners. For example, can utilize on layer 1, layer 2, IoT devices, and Oracle services. We hope that let's build together. So what is the next? Yeah, here's the roadmap. It is already open sourced, right? Want to make the engine better, more secure and fast. Want to build the tool more easily to use. Also want to add this T and ZK extension to make it verifiable, right? But more accurately, so this roadmap should be defined by you and I, not ourselves, right? So what is next? There's a repo, just fork it, right? Test it, break it, and let's build a smart tokenization future together. And today, DTVM have already been utilized by many blockchains. For example, on digital technology, we have on blockchain. So we also have Ferros network. I see Alex is sitting there. So we also have a layer 2 project utilizing DTVM. So what is this cool layer 2 project? I think Kobe Zhang can give us the best answer. So let's welcome Kobe.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dubai. I think today we are not just in the city of dreams. We are actually pursuing the dream of tokenization here. And I think we truly believe that the future, the convergence between physical and digital, Web 2 and Web 3, TradFi and DeFi will drive sustainable growth in the future of the global tokenization economy. And this vision actually forms the foundation of our latest product, Jovay. Jovay is actually a public layer 2 network building on top of the multi-year technology innovations and RWA practice from Ant Digital Technologies. Jovay is a layer 2 solution featuring the performance, scalability, and security. Its core architecture combines a dual prover, 3-stage confirmation mechanism, achieving a perfect balance between ultra-high performance and ultimate security for our clients. Jovay is a layer 2 solution featuring developer friendliness and EVM compatibility. Powered by DTVM and smart coding, Jovay supports multiple lab programming languages. For example, EVM Solidity, the Sonata favorite Rust, and also other programming languages from Web 2 developers. And making smart contract development accessible for every single developers that we already have in this world. And Jovay is a layer 2 solution tailored for the real-world assets, applications, and users. It actually creates a portal that connects your everyday life assets to the exciting world of Web3. And the best news we want to announce today is Jovay is actually already live. The Jovay DevNet is already live on jovay.io. You can visit it today, right now, on your mobile phone and laptop. And we are looking forward for the upcoming release of the testnet by the end of June, and the mainnet probably in the Q3 of this year. Last but not the least, Jovay is all about the joint real-world assets validating the future with your own hands. It's not just a tagline, it's our promise. A promise to work together with you, our friends, to build a future that is more efficient, inclusive, and secure. Are you ready to be part of the groundbreaking journey with us? Let's embrace the Jovay, and together, let's rewrite the rules of the tokenization with Web 2 and Web 3 with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yan, and thank you, Kobe Zhang. I'm excited about the launch of 2 of our latest technologies. And as you can see, we have cutting-edge technology, and we have use cases, and we have a lot of potentials there. The next part, again, is one of my favorite. Capital markets. We have a very, very renowned domain expert and leader in the blockchain space. President of Solana Foundation, Ms. Liu. Let's welcome Ms. Lili Liu to the stage. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Lily. I'm the president of the Solana Foundation, and this is my 11th year in crypto. A little bit of my personal background: I'm from California, of Chinese origin. My family is from Hunan. And I actually got into Bitcoin when I was living in Shanghai in 2013. Some friends just constantly talk about Bitcoin. I thought it was probably laundering drug money or something like that. And then I read the white paper and I thought, wow, this is incredible because it's at this intersection, this very unique intersection of technology and politics and finance. And this is going to be a multi-decade venture, and indeed we are. So when I think about what blockchains are actually good for, I think that there are two use cases, two categories. One is on the asset side, the other one is on the infrastructure side. On the asset side, it's very clear now who is winning that. That's Bitcoin. The asset is the infrastructure is the asset, store of value, you know the thesis. But what got me really interested in Bitcoin in the very beginning was really the title of the white paper says a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It doesn't say digital gold store of value, although that's incredible. And the vision from the very beginning is this idea that you would have a shared global financial infrastructure that would unify the liquidity of 5.5 billion people in the same way that the information internet has unified the time and the attention of 5.5 billion people. And that really is, I think, the broader mission that we're on. And there's been many ways to characterize this throughout the years. And the way we think about that today, and the role that I really think Solana has is to be that global financial infrastructure to provide the ability to have internet capital markets for unify all the people that are on the internet. So let me say a few words about that and why I think this is important. And I'm going to kind of take a little bit more of a U.S. lens on this, just given the U.S. is the largest capital market and is still the capital market of reference today. But when we think about capital markets, I think one observation is that actually, if you look beyond Wall Street and beyond the coastal elite, today's capital markets don't work for everyone. And so to reference Mr. Larry Fink, BlackRock, they also tokenize that on Solana. I hear from nearly every client, nearly every leader, nearly every person I talk to, they're more anxious about the economy than any time in recent memory. I understand why. We have lived through moments like this before, and somehow in the long run, we figure things out. But do we really? So there's been quite a divergence over time in terms of what the people at the top of the capital markets think. Economy is supposed to be going great, pretty good inflation, right? Unemployment seems to be pretty good. Macro indicators seem to be actually okay, with the exception of some recent events. But how does that actually feel for the rest of the people in the economy? Well, another stat, not looking so great, is only 27% of Americans believe in the American dream, which is find the belief that hard work leads to success, that it's still true, and that's a decline in a pretty short period of time from 50% only 15 years ago. So what is going on in the background here? Well, to put it plainly, your freedom is hyperinflating because your ability to turn an hour of work into the ability to accumulate capital, and eventually buy back your freedom, that function has only gone against labor over time. 50 years ago, it took 25 hours of work to buy one share of the S&P 500. Today, that is 195 hours. And this is something that is not just about people who used to work in factories. We've been talking a lot about that in the Western world. It's also even just people who live in California. Even if you're a doctor these days in California, your ability to buy a home, right, the ability to have a household on a single income, that is a pipe dream of the past. So why is it that labor no longer converts into capital at effective rates? Right? That's the exchange rate ultimately that governs all of our lives. Well, one of the reasons is because capital markets are not accessible to both the buy side and the sell side. I'm going to talk about both of those. So, to reference again someone that's been incredibly successful in venture capital, Bill Gurley. He's always believed that being public is great for companies, great for investors, and to high-growth companies as well. And it gives everyday investors access to high-growth companies earlier. When IPOs are delayed until companies are already worth billions, most of the upside is gone. And that is exactly what has happened over the last 20 years. We all know that tech investments, where most of the innovation value creation has happened, those companies stay public for 10 years. So what's effectively happened here is the S&P 500 has grown 8 times faster than the hourly wage. This is just in America, but you also see this phenomenon throughout the world. Everyone knows that, for example, in Seoul, the value creation was all in the housing market, and there's nothing left for this generation. And in order to keep up with the rise in S&P 500 prices, you'd have to be making $240 an hour, and we know what percent of the population, even in America, makes that. So this is what's happened to capital and labor over time. Now, map onto this 2008 and what happened during the financial crisis, which gave us Bitcoin. And so if you take, the curve, the red line is how gains have been privatized. And what's happened at the same time is that losses are being socialized. So TARP, at the time, only $770 billion, that was charged to taxpayers. So, and then, further on, beyond that, it continues to be the case that losses are socialized and gains are privatized. And when you look at that, add on to that government debt, the increase in the national debt, I don't even know what that number is, 840 times over the last 50 years. Increase in the interest over the cost of debt, this is only going in one way when you talk about who is bearing the cost of the future and who is getting the gains of the future. And even on an individual level, the ability to convert labor into capital, even in Silicon Valley, right, which is supposed to be the land of stock options, and you've got that great job and your RSUs and your stock options, even that's pretty highly restricted. You've got Section 701, if you've ever done business in the US, that's the only way you can do stock options and all the taxes, et cetera. It is possible, but it is a high barrier to entry, it is onerous, and got to hire a lot of lawyers, $1,000 an hour. Okay, so where does this leave us? Well, we have a choice, right? Labor doesn't convert into capital, and capital continues to accrue to the owners of capital. So what are the options that we have? Well, there's been a lot of discussion around universal basic income, and that's the idea, monthly fixed stipend, so everyone doesn't really have to work and can focus on your passions. And I think there's a better way, however, which is UBO, Universal Basic Opportunity. And that is what I think crypto does here, is just create equal opportunity for anyone with access to an internet connection, 5.5 billion people. But I think this is also a choice, philosophical choice that one makes. Do we want to live in one of a welfare economy, or an economy which is really based on individual ownership and the empowerment of the individual to be able to participate in the ownership economy? So let me talk a little bit more about how we see that happening, why capital markets are important to that. Well, buy side and sell side. We have to lower the barriers for investors and also for issuers. Let's talk about the buy side first. Well, private markets are private. This has happened certainly in the United States and in every mature capital market. Tech IPOs used to be actually broadly available in the 90s. We know a little bit what happened with that, and the rule book just got thicker and thicker and thicker, and the timelines to go private just got longer and longer and longer. So what do you have? Well, public market asset concentration is very high. Why do we talk about the Mag 7? Because they're 1/3 of the S&P 500. So you have all these folks looking for investment assets, and with globalization, global financialization, it's not even just American investors anymore. It's people all around the world want to buy Apple stock and Tesla stock. It increases the demand, therefore the price of these assets, and the demand relative to the supply of investable assets has shifted over time. That also results in the labor versus capital sort of relative pricing chart we saw earlier. And so some of that demand for investment products is going into alternative assets, these assets are also largely only on the private market, and so there's a lot of capital looking for somewhere to invest, and where is it going? Not a lot of places for it to go. It's been going into the Mag 7. However, there is one public market which is available 24/7, 365, anyone with an internet connection, and that is the blockchain. Solana does 70 to 90% of all of the transactions in this entire industry every day. 3.4 million tokens were created in the past 6 months, 80% of them on Solana. I know you're going to say, oh, those are all meme coins. They might be meme coins today, but they are not going to be meme coins tomorrow. This is a way to test the infrastructure, but what you see here is if you can point the liquidity of hundreds of millions of people around the clock at a unified market, you can even put price into something that has no value, right? So what if we were to take that fire hose and point it at something that actually does have value? So let me say a little bit more about crypto and how this adds value to financial markets. This is about access, barriers to access. If you want to open a bank account today, if you want to then go just do the basic thing, buy a T-bill with self-custody, This is going to take you quite a lot of time. Everyone here knows the stack of paperwork you have to go through just to go through these 2 steps. Alternatively, you can open your browser, open your wallet, and look like the wallet is symbolized by a ghost. And you can immediately get access to the full range of assets. And if you look in this wallet, this person has a mix of Ethereum, Solana, stablecoins, and meme coins. And I would like on this list to have things which are Apple stock, money market funds, RWAs from Ant Financial, and a range of assets, not only those that are we consider to be crypto native today. And what this means is that you can finally bring back bearer assets. No one owns anything on the internet today. You don't even own your own information. You certainly do not own your money in your bank account. And what you have in crypto is you bring back individual ownership of that token. Only you have your private keys. And what this is really about is it's re-architecting finance to be based on individual ownership rather than proxy custody on the internet. Okay, let's talk about the sell side, lowering barriers for issuers. If you want to go public today in America, many people do because it's the most liquid capital market, the most trusted, right? The most trusted frameworks. It's going to cost you between $10 and $15 million in direct costs just to do that IPO, which means you're not going to go do that IPO unless you're going to raise something like $100 million. And what does that mean? Again, you're going to stay private for longer. There's been a lot of regional exchanges around the world as well competing for this business, as in New York and NASDAQ have had some issues throughout the years. So these are regional exchanges that are competing, and there's the online exchange, which is the internet, which is blockchain, which is, in my mind, the one that unifies all of these various efforts. And the frameworks already exist. You don't have to do an S1. You could do a Reg A Plus, smaller amounts, fewer requirements, grow into various compliance requirements over time. And what this means is that this is lowering the barrier not just for small business in America, but really business around the world. We all know that the best companies who just happen not to be based in the United States get lower pricing, less access, lower multiples in the global capital marketplace just based on the market that you were born in. And that's something that is not relevant when you're listing on the internet. And some of this people have already tried to get around this a little bit. People have been able to do direct listings. They're more cost effective. You have more control. You have more direct access to your investor base. But really, the only folks that can do this are the really large companies that already have their own distribution. What about everyone else? So what we're trying to do here at Solana is we think that blockchains fundamentally are always been about global financial infrastructure. We want to become the best place for capital. That means, very simply, that you want to have all of the assets and all of the ways to use those assets. Where we stand in crypto today is there's kind of this asset spectrum. And on one end of the spectrum is you've got all price and no value. At the extreme, that's meme coins. On the other end of the spectrum, you have lots of value, but not much price, either because the asset itself inherently doesn't trade, or it's not possible to trade it because it's issued in an overly permissioned environment. And what we're doing here is we want to build out the asset spectrum and fill in, crypto-native tokens with varying sort of underlying value profiles, for example, DePIN coins, Bitcoin, of course, bring those into the Solana ecosystem, attract certainly the whole world of RWAs, and that's $100 trillion of assets, and there will be additional real-world assets, such as some of the work that Ant Financial is doing in financializing assets that cannot be considered financial assets today, bringing those on-chain, and also new structured products. We want to bring all of that into the Solana ecosystem, and with that, attract the builders that can build a whole range of ways to be using those assets. And why is that? Well, the vision of blockchain is that where there's an internet connection, there's a bank account. That applies to 5.5 billion people. There's no market, there's no exchange, there's no venue, there's no existing traditional financial marketplace, no dark pool that can compete with this. When engineers talk about a single state machine, for me as a finance person, what that says to me is you want to build infrastructure that supports unified liquidity. One environment for all of the liquidity, all of the assets, and all the ways to use those assets. And where I think this then leads us is towards a future where everyone is a trader, every app becomes a finance app. Every fintech within 5 to 10 years is going to be a crypto wallet. We'd like that to be a Solana wallet. And anything can be created as a financial asset. So, a little bit of an entertaining characterization here. The end state, where are the interesting financial assets, right? I want to be able to, buy this, collateralize it, perp trade on it. And that is what we in crypto call composability. And that is all the ways to use the assets once you have all the assets in the same place. And that is what we are building internet capital markets. Thank you.
Thanks, Lily. Great. Thanks very much, Lily. She always gives us very insightful information about capital markets and the future. I'm more worried about my job. 3-5 years down the road, I'll be out of my job, as I said. But there's a hope that we will do capital markets in a different way. Let's move to the next chapter. As we talk about these technologies and innovations and the ecosystem, we should also hear the voices of some of the founders and entrepreneurs in the Web3 ecosystem. Alex Zhang, CEO of Ferros, is a founder of Ferros. Ferros is a new star of layer finance with the on-chain world through innovative technology. So let's hear more from Alex. Alex, it's yours.
Thank you, Charles. Hi, Jam, everyone. Yeah, so I'm Alex, the CEO and co-founder of Ferros, a new layer one. So give me a bit more self-introduction. I'm a really old friend of anti-digital technology. So I've been spending 7 years in Ant and working with many of my anti-digital technology colleagues. And I was a CTO for anti-digital technology before I left. And I joined building a new Web3 infra. So firstly, what is Ferros, right? I think Ferros is a revolutionary layer one blockchain, and we truly positioning ourselves for the future mass adoption of Web3. So particularly along the vertical usage scenario perspective, we believe in Web3, what is a killer app is already there, digital wallets. Within digital wallet, what would be the most important user scenarios? Wealth management and payment. We believe these two are the key, and we make Ferros to be designed for institution-grade RWA and for enterprise-defined with ultimate performance. So now Ferros is building infra to bring high-quality real-world asset into the Web3. So while we are new, we're starting from last July. We're already being backed up by many friends, many our Web3 community friends. Yeah. So we're backed by the top Web3 VC, including Hack VC, Lightspeed Fraction, etc. And the team, we have a good hybridization of both the Web3 and the Web2 experience. And as for now, we already have up to 300 million pre-launch commitment for the high-quality, yield-generating real-world asset from many of our partnerships, including Ant. So we all know that there is going to be an unlocking of the massive financial, assets as a tokens, the tokenization assets into the Web3. But as for now, we also see there's a mismatch between the TradeFi and the Web3, financial infra perspective. So, while in the Web3, in the TradeFi perspective, whenever you want to do anything related to the cross-border, you're going to facing a long settlement delay. You're going to having all the foreign exchange, raising your yield. And not to mention, the manual compliance is a major cost for you to do any of the global asset, transfer, etc. While we're not trying to make a detour of all this compliance everything, we believe new digital technology, including Web3, can make this whole asset liquidation globally to be more efficient. So think about, as for now, for the institutions, right? And what could be an ideal RWA would look like? So in the Ferros, we're building the future-ready RWA for the institutions. So think about you can having a digit asset that can have instant T+0 settlement with 24/7 liquidity on the internet globally. And for many of the institutions, you may want to further having your customized, financial transaction requirement, such as privacy preserving, etc., and also things like AI-driven data fully on-chain. So in the institution side, and when you are on the buyer side, you're always looking into sustainable, inflation-resistant returns globally with a diverse portfolio and with long-term investment value, such as for the green RWAs that NDG technology is issuing as for now. So Ferros building a fully on-chain for RWA, liquidity. So on the Ferros side, we are supporting the high performance of 2 gigahertz, 1 second finality for the transaction settlement. Ferros providing the specific special processing network, allowing customization for the institution-grade payment, such as the privacy preserving, decentralized AI, etc. And while we are bringing RWA such as the high yield, sustainable, digital asset with yield 7+, and we can further using Web3 token economics to provide further upside for those from the investment opportunity perspective. And one of the most important thing is from the digitalization of the compliance perspective. Ferros fully supporting the layer 1 native ZK technology for on-chain KYC and AML. So therefore, there's a whole step of the protocol from the infra, from the off-chain side that we are building to make sure that we can truly have a robust end-to-end RWA issuing and distribution. So from the off-chain side, Ferros building an open ecosystem so that we can getting the fund management, we can getting the Web2 credit rating agency, we can getting the on and off ramp for the asset, for the capital, and the custodian for these assets, etc., to be fully ready and integrate into the Web3 as a new infra side. From the Ferros as a new Web3 infrastructure perspective, KYC ML, and on top of the interoperability and the multi-sign for the custodian service, etc., we're making the asset management to be secure and to be manageable from compliance perspective. And the protocol side will be the key to addressing the liquidity issue that on the digital asset perspective. Ferros were providing a hybrid architecture so that from permissioned RWA issuing, whitelist, and the staking vault, we can further move into the more decentralized financing protocol, such as lending, borrowing, yield-bearing stablecoin, etc., to further making the liquidity of the on-chain solution to be adjustable, to be customizable. So therefore, on the Ferros perspective, will be the main drive to meet the demand from both the buyer side and the sell side from RWA asset flowing perspective. On the asset issue perspective, they always have the time to value concern about the liquidity, compliance, etc. And on the seller side, the financial institution, professional investors are always looking to high quality, high yielding assets and along with a diverse portfolio. Ferros through off-chain, infra, and the on-chain protocol, both on the RWA asset and also on the new DeFi infra perspective, to make sure the digital asset liquidity to be fully elevated to a new level. So we believe RWA asset on-chain will also be as promising as the stablecoin has already become. So 100 billion market value size will be an penetration point to make the RWA to be a truly massive adoptive. So Ferros call for participation on all our eco partners. Together, we want to building a large RWA market by 2027. So Ferros itself, in the Q3, we are having our mainnet launch, and we have up to $300 million of the renewable asset live. In the end of the year, we will first optimize our RWA environment, launch our special processing network to allowing the financial institution to customize the on-chain financial protocol. 2026 will be the time we want to truly building our critical mass of institution partners, and toward 2027, we want to, with our partnership, to further define on how RWA asset can be managed, traded, and utilized globally. So today, also I'm being very excited to make an announcement that the Ferros testnet will be publicly launched in the coming May 7th, where I see lots of people are so excited about the technology that Ying has announced early regarding the DTVM, smart agent for smart control program everything. Ferros as a co-development of the core technology, we are making our DTVM and the smart cogent as they want to be available through our Ferros project towarding our community user as well. So, and it's so excited, and thank you again for the anti-digital invitation. And we welcome everyone to join us together in the journey to making RWA to be mass adopted globally. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Well, having looked at the Web3 technology from the perspective of an entrepreneur like Alex, let's switch gear a little bit to look at the asset side. And we want to talk about a real use case from GCL Group. GCL is a leading enterprise in China in new energy industry. GCL has recently completed the first ever RWA transaction in China together with the N technology, and to provide digitalization and liquidity of new energy asset. And with that, I'd like to welcome Mr. Shen Chen, General Manager of Fund Management Company at GCL Energy Technology. Welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining this session at the RWA Real Up Dubai 2025. I am Shen Chen with GCL Group. The world is rapidly evolving, driven by powerful technological waves. My focus today is on the exciting chemical reaction occurring at the intersection of new energy, artificial intelligence, and Web3. This is not just about individual technologies. It's about their potential to create smarter, more sustainable, and highly investable energy systems. Let's explore how this synergy is unfolding. The global energy sector is transforming incredibly fast. Renewables are booming, driven by dramatic cost reductions, especially wind and solar, whose costs have plummeted by 60%, 80%, respectively, over the last decade. They are now the cheapest forms of the new power and the main driver of new capacity globally. New energy is truly becoming a powerhouse for global growth. However, this rapid progress brings challenges. The biggest bottleneck is integrating variable renewables like wind and solar into existing power grid. Significant investment is needed worldwide for grid expansion, modernization, and energy storage. Furthermore, while renewable assets offer stable long-term returns, their long investment cycles often mean capital is locked up, creating a challenge for liquidity. So how do we make new energy investments more agile and attractive? Three key trends are emerging. Trend 1, securitization and tokenization. This is where Web3 plays a crucial role by converting physical assets like solar or wind farms into digital tokens on a blockchain. We unlock liquidity. These tokens can be traded quickly and securely, allowing diverse investors easier access to buy and sell shares in renewable projects. This brings unprecedented flexibility and transparency to energy finance. Trend 2, blended finance models. Combining instruments like green bond, carbon credits, and guarantees help share risk and enhance returns, making projects more bankable. As carbon pricing becomes more prevalent, the value of clean power assets increases further. Trend 3, smarter asset management. Leveraging AI, IoT sensors, and data analytics allows for predictive maintenance and performance optimization. This reduces costs and makes return more stable and predictable for investors. A direct link where AI enhances the value proposition. Trend 3, global institutional investors. Like sovereign wealth funds and pension funds, they are increasingly allocating capital to renewables. Why? They seek three main things. First one, stable long-term returns. Renewable offer predictable cash flows, often secured by long-term contracts. Secondly, ESG compliance, or maybe it should be called as sustainable capitalism in practice. These assets align perfectly with global sustainable mandates and help decarbonize investment portfolios. Third one, which is the most important one, liquidity. While traditional exits exist, RWA offers a potential transformative solution for enhancing liquidity, make it easier to enter and exit positions. As carbon markets mature, the risk profile of renewable investments improves, attracting even more long-term capital. When discussing renewables, China is always the central to the conversation. It leads the world in installed capacity for wind, solar, and storage, and dominates manufacturing, producing over 70% of solar modules and lithium batteries globally. Combined with advanced grid infrastructure, China has built the world's most complete renewable energy ecosystem. These high-quality assets present a massive opportunity for global investors. but how to access them efficiently. RWA provides a powerful bridge. Like what Ms. Bian shared, a real-world example last December. GCL-ET partnered with Ant-DT to complete the world's first on-chain issuance of tokenized solar assets. The assets are stable, operational residential solar projects in China. Ant Group provides the technology, and Chain was used to tokenize these assets. And it was issued successfully in Hong Kong. This pioneering project demonstrates how Chinese renewable assets can leverage Web3 technology to access global capital, breaking traditional financing barriers. It highlights the potential of these assets as stable, valuable components for global portfolios. We believe Web3 can help transform the energy sector, turning electrons into trusted data streams and the data into stable long-term returns. Allow me to briefly introduce GCL Group. Founded in 1990, GCL has grown into a leading global green and low-carbon technology company. We drive innovation centered on core materials like silicon, lithium, and carbon, crucial for advancing solar, battery storage, and hydrogen energy. Critically, we emphasized digital empowerment, integrating power plus storage plus computing, increasingly powered by AI, to develop intelligent, efficient, and zero-carbon energy solutions worldwide. We are pioneering concepts like energy superbrain to manage complex energy systems. This commitment to AI-driven energy solutions is exemplified by our recent collaboration with Ant-DT on the Energy TS AI integrated machine, designed to further optimize energy management. As a major global player with assets and annual revenues, both around 200 billion RMB, approximately 28 billion US dollar, and multiple listed companies on the A-share and H-share markets, GCL is deeply invested in shaping a sustainable energy future through technological leadership. Today, here in Dubai, discussing the synergy of Web3, capital, and new energy, we see clear trends emerging. Trend 1, full digitalization. The entire energy internet becoming smarter and more efficient, enhanced by AI. Trend 2, decentralized trading, giving users more choice and making energy transactions faster and fairer via blockchain. And trend 3, enhanced assets liquidity. RWA and tokenization, making energy assets more easily tradable and accessible globally. Ladies and gentlemen, as blockchain unlocks assets liquidity and global capital connects with high-quality renewable assets like those in China, we stand at the threshold of a multi-trillion-dollar market opportunity. At GCL, leveraging our deep industry expertise and leadership in digital transformation, we aim to be a bridge connecting global investors and with green returns, and transforming clean energy into momentum for global sustainability. Now is the time to act, not just for profit, but for the planet and our shared future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. Thanks so much. Each time I hear Mr. Chen talk about GCL, I found what a visionary company of GCL is when you look at the future of green assets and its possibilities to connect with Web3 company. All right, let's switch gear and move to the next chapter. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, a very highly anticipated roundtable discussion segment. So we'll be focusing on hot topics in tokenization economy. But first of all, allow me to introduce today's roundtable moderator, Dr. Seth Huang, CEO of R25. Dr. Huang holds a PhD in economics and finance from Cornell University, is a seasoned Web3 RWA DeFi entrepreneur. Let's welcome Dr. Huang with a round of applause. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the last speaker, so I'll make this quick. I'm Seth, and we are R25, and we believe in real yields, real assets, and we focus on high-growth industries. And our mission is to be a protocol that unlocks access to high-quality assets. And how do we do that? We first by removing barriers and let anyone invest in renewable energy. That includes EV, that includes solar farm, windmills, as well as AI infrastructure. We mix that with money market funds to solve the illiquidity problem, which I'll illustrate. Second, we provide data-backed transparency. With a partner like DT, we're able to scout for high-quality data, especially in the APAC region at the moment. And right now, there's over $100 million worth of high-quality assets waiting to be distributed. And the reason why we wanted to do that is because by having the data, we can provide AI analytics so that each user can ascertain the fair value of the tokenized assets. And we believe that this will radically eliminate a lot of unnecessary risks in the open market. So the problem is that the system locks out most investors. And as Lily demonstrated earlier, right, there's an obstacle to how investors, both institutional and retail, can enter the space. First, no access and no exit. These assets are traditionally restricted to large institutions, even with high capital requirements. Even PEs or VCs, they don't have access to these very specialized and domain-centric assets. Number two, your retail everyday investors, not to mention the meme token holders, they do not have access whatsoever to these high quality. And I think over the last few years, that's partially the reason why crypto has been frowned upon in some space. Third, real assets means stock capital. So these assets, as you demonstrated earlier, that they require a long investment horizon. And as a result, there's a lot of trouble for redemption. And quite oftentimes, it's how companies blew up. Second, there's no truth, no ground truth, no data. Investors cannot easily verify energy output, carbon offsets, and revenue flows. Even in the RWA space, just 2 weeks ago, a very renowned protocol whose value dropped by over 90% in one night. Because despite what they said about what they wanted to do, there's no transparency. The yields came from nowhere. So there's no truth for investors, and as the second problem that we want to address. And the second point, the ESG reporting and the greenwashing. And lastly, assets do not have the guardians to verify the true yield sources. So this is where great companies like DT comes in. So with their army of experts, they're able to go directly to locations to install AIoT infrastructure, and equipments, bring the data on-chain so the protocols like us can provide true information to both institutional and retail investors. Regarding the market, there's a $2 trillion shift that needs real yield. First, there's a green energy market growth. So ESG, or green energy-related assets, spending is projected to reach $2 trillion by 2030. And that translates to well over 20% growth globally. Second, there is an institutional adoption potential. We've been talking to a lot of blockchain foundations and institutional clients, and the response has been incredible. Investors and family offices, they seek stable yields with upside potential. And this is how they can, especially in this moment, decorrelate from geopolitics. Because if the one thing that's consistent is that people always need energy, and energy consumption is predictable. And we have the direct on-chain data that could become the new gold standard for global compliance in related assets. So in a few years, this kind of thing will not be new to investors. Information should be assumed and provided whenever you decide to invest in anything. We also see a lot of retail investor appetite. It doesn't work for everyone. If you expect your meme coin to go up by 600% in one night, this is probably not for you. But more and more wealthy and aging investors, they prioritize yield sustainability in investments. They want to know where it comes from, whether it's going to continue, whether they have to enter and exit markets at all the time. And there's also the problem of noise. It's just not a noise in politics, but also noise in the crypto industries. If people have no idea where to go. There's, a few years ago, there's a GameFi, there's a run to earn, there's a sleep to earn. But here, we're bringing real assets and producing real yields. And these crypto-savvy demographics, they seek real assets beyond volatile tokens. And we see that happening, especially now. Regarding the R25 structure, so to make long story short, we essentially bring the real-world assets and the Web3 world assets, and we integrate them in R25. And by utilizing products from the real world, such as money market funds, as well as Web3, we're able to solve both the liquidity problem and the information problem. Excuse me. This is a demo for our trading app. We can invest in USDC, so RCUSD Plus, which is for money market funds. And you can also invest in something that's a little more high return, such as something called ST RCUSD, which is the most high quality solar panel tokenized assets. And the yield is between 7 to 8%, which is very attractive to a lot of institutional investors. And soon, beyond that, after we launch, we're going to allow users to specialize in whatever industries they want to focus on. Users can focus on EV industry, they can focus on green energy, or they can focus on AI infrastructure. So our next steps, we're going live soon, and we are scaling now. And of course, you never heard of him before, but it's because we're still in a stealth build mode. And in May, starting tomorrow, we'll enter the true development phase. We're going to polish our backend dashboard to allow all the information to be presented to our users beautifully and informatively. We're also going to refine our smart contracts and audit the smart contracts, not just to share the revenue of the yield, but also to offer true legal protection for our users. And that part is almost unprecedented. In June, we're going to have a pilot launch on Sway. And we have a lot of partners. And these partners, not only do we want to launch on their chains, they also love to be the initial users of our protocol. In July, we'll begin our multi-chain development. And finally, we're able to go public with our community building process. So we believe in real yields, as I said. Therefore, we don't want to do the hyping first. You have seen the trading app. And the landing page, r25.xyz, is also online. There's a lot more information about our business model that you can refer to. A white paper is being drafted as we speak, and we are going to provide the white paper with the detailed smart contract structure in the coming weeks. So we are R25, and we believe in real yields. And thank you so much. So now, as a moderator, I would like to invite first Chen Zhao, the Director of Digital Asset from Fosun Wealth. Second, Eugene Chung, Chief Commercial Officer from OSL. Mr. Colin Cunningham, Head of Tokenization and Alliance from Chainlink. Lastly, Omar Azar, Head of BD from ZK Sync, Meta Labs. They told me to speak as slowly as possible because these so far are quite heavy. Okay, so our panelists, introduce yourselves, please.
Should I start first?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Chen, and I'm from Fosun Wealth, and I'm spearheading the digital asset department. And it's a great honor to be here and invited by Ant Group. And we hope to have more collaborations on RWAs and on different technology perspectives with Ant Group and technology. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eugene Chung. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of OSL. So OSL is the first license exchange in Hong Kong. We also list company in Hong Kong. My background is I have a mix of TradFi and crypto. So I was with CME, TradeWeb. That's how I began my career. And then I was with Bybit for 3 years until last year I joined OSL.
I am Colin Cunningham. I am the head of tokenization at Chainlink Labs. Chainlink is the world's largest Oracle provider, and so we're moving all the data and value around the blockchain via interoperability.
And I'm Omar Azar, head of business development at ZK Sync. ZK Sync is a leader in zero-knowledge proof technology. We build layer 2 scaling technology for anyone to build their own app chain, their own community chain, their own private permission banking chain on top of Ethereum. Our ecosystem now spans about 20 or so plus layer 2 chains using our stack. These expand from anywhere from consumer and social chains such as Abstract and Lens to more institutional focused chains such as Memento with Deutsche Bank as well. And then on the RWA space, we've been making pretty good headway in terms of bringing new types of assets on chain. Right now we have about a little over $2 billion in private credit loan deals that are fully on chain and tokenized.
So we have from the wealth management side to the infrastructure side, and it covers many spectrums of the ecosystem. Which brings us to today's topic, which is revolutionizing asset markets, tokenization that delivers liquidity and utility. So we'll explore 4 key topics today, and I'll begin the questions. First for Mr. Zhao, and of course we can chime in as we go. So the question is, traditional securitization and balance sheet management of illiquid assets, such as real estate portfolios or corporate loans, often face constraints that limit flexibility and value extraction. So from your perspective, what promising opportunities or emerging trends do you see in improving these conventional strategies?
Cool. Great question. So just to be honest, so we actually see see a great trend of tokenizing traditional finance and traditional products. But the first steps from our perspective and from our observation would be tokenize more standardized products, including like we have seen treasury bills, money market funds, and other products that's already been securitized. So for a successful token to be issued, you have to do like securitization first, and then you do tokenization. So obviously, it's more easy to starting from the already securitized products. But regarding your question, obviously, we expect these illiquid asset classes, as you have mentioned, to be more accessible by by users or by funds that's previously not allowed to access these kind of asset classes. So to some extent, it does bring in more more liquidity to real estate portfolios or any other non-standard products. But tokenization, I have to reiterate that tokenization does not create liquidity. So if the asset class is not liquid, even after the tokenization, it won't be liquid. So, but it does help to kind of standardize some of the data, or to standardize some of the ways to calculate yield and stuff like that. But we should still manage our expectations regarding these non-standardized asset classes. But obviously it helps, but we have to still manage the expectations.
Thank you. So do you agree that the tokenization itself does not create liquidity?
Absolutely, because right, I mean, we can tokenize a lot of things, right? Even myself, I can tokenize, let's say, my next year income and on chain, but it doesn't mean like people will buy it. So I think like, but the tokenization I would consider is basically provide a new way to unlock a lot of value of the existing traditional financial assets. Right? I mean, one example is like, let's say today your mutual fund, right? Your mutual fund basically sitting on your account, you can do nothing with it, right? But let's say in the future, with the tokenization, with a better real-time monitor, with a transaction, right? Then you have, maybe potentially you can use a mutual fund as some kind of collateral on some DeFi venue, right? That's like extra value out of it. So we definitely, so I think like we definitely feel like the RWA is going to be unlock a lot of value for investors, right? But of course, the first critical issue is we need to solve the liquidities, right? Then I really don't think like you tokenize everything, and tokenize real estate means like able to create the liquidity doesn't really exist in the real world. But with the technology, there's a better way to monitor data, right? It's like, Chainlink to the Oracle, and then better way to set up rules, right? Smart contract can set some AML rules. Then potentially that will eventually probably we're gonna enhance liquidities. Yeah.
Got it. So it's more about the information flow rather than the tokenization. How about you, Mr. Cunningham?
Yeah, so before I joined Chainlink, I worked at a real-world asset protocol called Centrifuge, which is they're hosting an event just next door, actually. And the whole focus for Centrifuge was to build a private credit-based protocol, right? So we were thinking a lot about illiquid assets, and that was back in like 2020, 2021. I think what we learned back then, and I don't know how much of that has changed now, is that the Web3 market, right, specifically Web3 capital markets and the type of investors that we have that are crypto native aren't necessarily prepared for using some of these liquid assets within the crypto or the blockchain-based systems that we have today. I think a lot of that is related to, and this is what I work on at Chainlink, is a lot of the data that you need to make these decisions isn't actually programmed into these tokens, and that's because they're existing on public chains, and because of the disclosure of information that you need against that data on chain to actually write programs and to write composability in smart contracts against these assets in a way where you actually benefit from what these assets can do in a smart contract-based or a blockchain-based system. I think the other way that I think about it at Chainlink a lot is that the capital that would have access to this or have interest in this is really sitting off-chain. So a lot of the work that we're doing at Chainlink right now is how do you take some of these illiquid assets, how do you structure them in a way where they're actually more efficiently structured and perform better on the blockchain, and then push that back into kind of Web 2 instances of some of the larger financial institutions that are out there, or some of the off-chain investors that haven't really gone full crypto native, but need to access these investments in a way where these liquid assets are actually structured in a way where they're actually, there is some kind of net gain in the yield that they're receiving. And so I think it's a complex problem where the market isn't really developed yet enough and from a Web3 native sense, and a lot of the capital that would be interested in this type of, these types of assets on the blockchain aren't really yet at the table.
Thank you.
On the first point, I would agree the crypto native market is a very different market of buyers. Their expectations of risk and return is on a completely different chart from what normal investors' risk return like curve looks like, right? They're expecting a 10x, 100x, 1000x type return in like a couple hours. It's a very different profile. So for them, real world assets it's not really the right market sense, right? However, real world assets, putting them on chain, tokenizing them, has a lot of benefits from a information perspective. Like if, let's for example, a mortgage-backed security, if you could see in real time the actual payment flows from the different mortgages, that's significantly better information, could help you significantly better do risk profiling, et cetera, optimization of your balance sheet, how much you're willing to take on, and then also you could fractionalize it even further, so you could do much better portfolio management in more real time. So from a information perspective, it's pretty good. From a utility perspective, you can make these things be composable, put them in different DeFi protocols, make them collateral. But I think the real task is really on how do you connect the assets on chain with the actual buyers that are generally completely off chain, right? Who are not even used to how do you get on chain? How do I move my assets on chain? How do I buy this? And how do I actually make use of the DeFi primitives as well?
That's actually a perfect segue into our next question. So still for you, Omar. So from your standpoint, and besides everything that we have just talked about, such as solar, etc., AI, what are some of the most promising DeFi use cases for tokenized RWAs?
I'll start with the very simple one, which is really just like collateral mobility, right? Actually being able to use some sort of relatively illiquid or even highly liquid collateral like money market funds and giving it additional use cases that I can use, like maybe use it as collateral for trading on exchanges. The other very interesting one for me personally, and something we do at ZK as well, is how do you increase distribution globally for assets that previously weren't accessible, let's say in Latin America, right, or in other areas of the world. Like a very simple one